So oftentimes before God takes you higher, he will disrupt that which is normal and comfortable for you, whether it be your job, whether it be a relationship or an opportunity that you were depending on. And when these things take place, it's really easy to feel abandoned and alone. You may be looking around and thinking to yourself, nothing is working out for me. Everything is falling apart. I am all alone. But take heart. What feels like a season of isolation and loss is oftentimes a clear sign that God is about to do something extraordinary in a Christian's life. One of my favorite examples of isolation in the Bible is the story of Joseph. We know that God gave Joseph dreams about his future, visions that showed the incredible purpose that God had planned for Joseph. But at that time, when God had given Joseph those dreams, he was nothing but a young shepherd living in his father's house, where his brothers hated him and taunted him, and his own father, who loved him, didn't understand the significance of Joseph's purpose. Eventually, the jealousy of Joseph's brothers consumed them, and they sold him into slavery. And overnight, Joseph was ripped away from his comfortable life and thrust into a life of bondage. He was put into a foreign land, where he didn't know the language, he didn't know anyone, he didn't have any connections, and he was miles away from everyone and everything that he had ever known. And in that moment, in those times, Joseph didn't have anyone to lean on but God and the promises that God had made to him. And yet, through all of the pain, through all of the trauma, through all of the betrayal and the loss, Joseph held on to his faith in God. And in the end, God rewarded him by fulfilling the very dreams that he had given him. God allowed for Joseph to rise up and to become the second most powerful man in Egypt. And not only that, but to save countless lives during a devastating famine. So what seemed to be an unbearable loss, what seemed to be isolation, was actually God preparing Joseph for his destiny. Sometimes the only way for God to fulfill the plans that he has for your life is to remove the things that are already there. Joseph could have never become the second most powerful man in Egypt, nor would he have saved all of these lives from a famine if he had remained in his father's house. Likewise, Abraham would have never become the father of many nations if God hadn't have called him to leave his country. And same for Jesus. Jesus endured 40 days in isolation as he prepared for his destiny, but that destiny wouldn't have been fulfilled had he not had that season and that period of isolation. If God has removed something from your life, you can trust that whatever it is can't take you to where God is trying to bring you. When God isolates you, it's not to harm you, it's to position you, it's to prepare you for something greater. So hold on to his promises, because what seems like a setback is oftentimes really a setup for your breakthrough.